One of the best ways to attract hypnotherapy clients and grow your hypnotherapy practice is to partner with somebody who already has an audience of people who are interested in things like personal development or are open to the idea of having hypnosis with you. This bypasses the need for you to build your own audience, do tons of social media posting, or even spend money on ads. In the interview that you're about to watch, we're going to hear from one of my clients, Chrissy, who's made a what I call a strategic collaboration with a local business owner. You'll find out exactly who and what type of business it is that allows her to go into this business and access this existing pool of interested people who are then becoming her paid clients. It's costing her nothing, and it's a win-win-win, a win for her, a win for the local business owner, and a win for the clients of that business owner who are also becoming her clients, as you'll learn in this interview. So watch this interview. This is a great way to grow your hypnotherapy practice. This is something you could do probably in any city in the world. It should work conceivably. So have a look, watch the video, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy. Okay, so welcome everybody to this very special interview, this very special edition of Awesome Coaches Doing Awesome Things. I have a very special guest with me today. This is Chrissy, and she is a hypnotherapist and coach from the UK. We were chatting a couple of weeks ago, and she was really excited about an invitation that she got recently. We're gonna save that until a little bit later in the chat, but really, I'm really excited for her as well. But I want to get into your story here just quickly, Chrissy, because you're doing some really cool stuff. So before we get just into that, could you just briefly introduce yourself? Like, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, so I'm Christin, or Chrissy. I live in Manchester in the UK. I'm a life coach, clinical hypnotherapist, and NLP practitioner. Although the life coaching has gone really in the background, I love the subconscious mind. I recently progressed with regression to root cause hypnotherapy, which I love. And because of you, I got into my group sessions again.
Okay.
And that's me summed up, really.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, excellent. Okay. And so the first thing I want to talk about is, just before we hit record here, you were telling me about how like you used to rent a room and you're a little bit to host your sessions in, you rented a room from another counselor, and it sounded to me like there was almost like a feeling of isolation when you were using that room. And then you made a little switch and things kind of really changed in your business because of that. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so there's so many little steps going into this. I had my little flyers and I was putting them in a little cafe in the village. And this lady, she said, people are loving those flyers. And one day she contacts me and we're actually friends now. And she said, well, there's a yoga studio around the corner and they're looking for a hypnotherapist. So they are renting out their rooms. There's a lot of yoga teachers, Pilates teachers, gong baths, all that kind of holistic therapy in there, but there's no other hypnotherapist. And so I went to view the studio. And what I said to the owner is, I would love to do group sessions in that studio. I just haven't got the balls yet. And Yvette said to me, let's go and find those balls. And I said, okay, let's just do it on the 21st of January. That was last year. And I've just gone and done it. And I would usually have between 3 and 5 people coming. And then the summer hit, and there was one time when no one booked. And I was a bit disheartened, and I stopped doing them for a while. And then I had a session with you, some one-to-one coaching. And it was then all of a sudden so obvious that I just didn't I needed to take a sip of my own medicine and just look at why did no one come. And it was in the middle of the summer, people were probably on holiday. So I started them again and I had some booked out now. And then because of the one-to-one sessions, there's usually because of the group sessions, there's usually some one-to-ones coming out of this because people have the opportunity at a low price with no obligation to just kind of try it, see what is hypnosis, what does it feel like, and if it doesn't do much for them more than obviously the relaxation of that hour, and they say, I don't need more of this, then that's cool. But sometimes they are like, they come up afterwards and they're like, do you do one-to-ones as well? Because I have this problem with anxiety and things happen. It's yeah, a lot comes out of it. It's just brilliant.
Beautiful. Okay, I love that breakdown. I just want to unpack it slightly for the audience to really emphasize a couple of points here. So yeah, so you started out, you were in that kind of, you had your own space. You were kind of isolated and people would come when you did get clients, they would come in and see you there. But then because, you were taking action in your business, you were leaving flyers at I think it was the local cafe
Yeah.
to advertise your business, which is, a really easy thing to do. And, little by little getting your reputation out there. And then that big shift came when somebody suggested to you and you took them up on it. Luckily, check out this yoga studio and maybe you can be a part of that facility and host sessions there. Sounds like I think I got this right. You connected with the owner of that yoga studio. You guys hit it off, and now you're able to host small group hypnosis sessions at the
Yes.
yoga studio and market them to the existing clientele, to the existing people that already come to
Yes.
the yoga studio. Anyways, that's huge, right? Everybody, that's what we call adopting an audience, right? Chrissy didn't have to do the hard work of like building a client, this massive client base to invite people to the small group hypnosis. She collaborated with the owner of this yoga studio who already had an audience, and it was a win-win. Like it's good for the yoga studio, it's good for the clients, it's good for that owner, it's good for you. And like you said, as a result of that, now you've got people coming in for these group sessions. You're filling them up, you're booking them out. Some of them are sold out. And from that, because people get to see you, they get to know you, they get to see what you're all about, they're coming up to you and inquiring about one-to-one sessions. I got all of that right, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the one. The brilliant thing is sometimes I have new people there. They don't know what hypnosis is. They just read about it on some local Facebook group where I post. There was this mums group in a nearby village. There was two particular Facebook groups where I posted it, and I did a little play on Canva with something, and something hit that day. And I think it was because I was niching those group sessions into not just general ones, but one was anxiety, one was stress, one was binge eating. And when people see those words and they're like, oh, this is me, then they're more likely to come. But there's some people and they just keep coming for the relaxation unless it's something that really doesn't, ring true with them. They don't have anxiety, and I sell it as anxiety, although it is never just anxiety because I'm just guiding them on their journey. As you know, and probably most of you watching, everyone's going on their own journey. So whatever comes up, comes up.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, so a lot more good information in there. You kind of gave our viewers there a hint about some of the themes of these small group hypnosis sessions that you're doing. You don't have to share your pricing here on this video, but are you charging for the small group hypnosis
Yeah,
sessions?
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm happy to share. So I'm in the UK and it's £20 per person. And I had sessions where I had like 3 people at the beginning. I had some with 5. I had some with 10. One of them was my partner, which was another level of nervousness because he's never been hypnotized by me.
Yep.
But everyone else on the last one, oh yeah, apart from one lady, everyone else was new.
Beautiful.
So
Okay,
yeah,
yeah. So basically what you're saying is, I mean, 20 pounds, which is around 25 or 30 American dollars, I think, is not like a ton of money, but when you have 10 people, sometimes up to 10 people coming in, you're making a decent amount of money for this
yeah,
short bit of work. But the more important thing is you're connecting with potential clients and you're growing your client base and you're getting paid to do it and you're growing your business at the same time, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Cool. Okay. And so, there's one more question I want to ask you, but just before we get to that, I just want to emphasize to the audience, like, this is the power of, like, this is basically one connection that Christin made with one, what I would call an audience owner. And in this case, it's a yoga studio owner. She took the initiative. She made the effort. She went outside of I presume you went outside of your comfort zone a little bit to establish that relationship with that woman and look at the massive benefit, right? Versus like, it took probably what, 20 minutes or 30 minutes of conversation with that woman before you guys knew you were going to work together. Well, when was the last time anybody spent 20 or 30 minutes of effort, making social media content and reaped this level of benefit and this level of business growth, right? So that's the difference between, the kind of the traditional way of growing our business and the what I call the adopted audience method. So on top of all of that, because of this traction that you've been getting in your business and more people hearing about you, something really exciting. Again, another really exciting thing happened. So what was that? What was this kind of new development?
So, because of this post, and this was the one on stress, it was the group hypnosis that I labeled de-stress. And not only did 10 people come, but I had more people on my mailing list, only two more. But two is good because it's two people that are actually interested, not just two random strangers. And they said, let me know about future events. But one lady that contacted me is from a local radio channel, and she asked me if I'd like to do an interview. She read my post and it was so interesting. So we got on the phone. And then in the end, we decided, yes, let's do an interview on the 11th of December. Yeah, 11th of December on All FM, which is a local radio channel here in Manchester. And I'm like super excited. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely tremendous. And I mean, it's gonna cost you nothing, right? It's gonna cost you nothing to be on this radio, to be interviewed. And I don't know how many people live in Manchester. You call it the village, but like I feel like there's a lot of people actually that live
Oh, the village
in
is just another little village near me.
is
Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, another village in Manchester. But in Manchester, there's a lot of people that live there, and in
Yeah.
the greater Manchester area, there's like a ton of people that potentially could hear your interview on this radio station, and that's just like, free publicity for you, and especially because it's very different than like paying for a radio ad versus being invited by the host on radio. You're going to be introduced as like an interesting person. You're not there as a paid advertiser. You're there as a local expert, a local authority, a local hypnotherapist that they want to feature because they find you so interesting. So, I mean, that's really good for business growth. I know the interview hasn't happened yet, but you must be very excited, right?
Yes. And also I've invested in your program with the recordings, and that was brilliant. And then what I did is I followed all your advice. I did my recording and a bit of a test dummy one, gave it away for free. And it was over 20 people that have it. And now the lady who's doing the interview with me, she's got the recording as well. So she's going to be listening to that before the show. So she will actually have her own things to say about hypnosis. And soon there's going to be more recordings, and they'll be on my website, and they will be able to be sold. And it's just nice to see how it's all coming together and how more and more people I can help.
Okay, cool. So I think we covered everything I wanted to cover. Like I said, we'd keep it short and concise, but there's a lot of really good gold nuggets in there. You're setting a really tremendous example for your peers in this industry. Do you feel like, in your business, you've kind of turned a corner now and, you're moving forward in a really good way?
At times, yes. And then I see how far I've come in the last 3 years, and I'm thinking, wow. Actually, Alana Banks, I need to mention her as well because I see her a lot on your Facebook, and obviously I follow her as well. And one of the most useful pieces of advice she's given in a recent video was that when she followed all the other coaches, and it kind of narrows it down, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm thinking, I don't need to follow this person and go on a course with that person because I'm just, what am I doing? I'm basically procrastinating just so it feels like I'm doing something. But every time I do work with you and on the things that I'm already doing, but just expanding and not just doing random things, then I always move forward. There's always, and it is always forwards.
Oh,
So
yeah. Awesome, cool, and so glad to hear it. So, excellent. Again, Chrissy, super impressed with your ambition and your determination and the action that you're taking there locally. And obviously, you're seeing the fruits of your work now. So, congratulations on that. Any other tips or any other advice for people that might be watching just before we wrap up here?
Totally. Don't be disheartened if no one books the first time, or maybe just one person comes, or even if that's a person you know. I actually knew a couple of people, I think maybe two or three over the years that have become my clients, and all friendship was put aside because they wanted my help. And one of them is actually considering rebooking. And so sometimes I just had three people there or five, but then one became my client. And even if it's just a five or three or two, ask them for feedback. If you have a Google profile, if you have Facebook, wherever you have your feedbacks, they are so important. Ask them for it. With the free recordings that are sent out, I've asked everyone for feedback as well. Guess what? Out of the over 20 people, only one person has left one, but I will follow up again. You did actually mention it in module 2 of the AAA about the follow up, and thinking, yeah, I need to do that follow up. Um, I'm I'm not very good at that yet.
The fortune is in the follow-up, and that's a really good tip. Anytime you can get people to give you positive feedback, like on your Google page or on your if you have a Facebook business page or whatever, testimonials are so valuable for the growth of your business and for helping people to make a good decision when they're considering working with you as well. So awesome, awesome advice. Okay, Chrissy. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this interview. I know it's going to be really inspirational and helpful to other people who are in your position as well. And so, yeah, all my best to you. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to hit stop record here in a second.
Thank
And
you for having me.
yeah, thank you for
Bye,
being here.
guys.
Hey everyone, I really hope you enjoyed that interview with Chrissy. Isn't she wonderful? I'd love for you to let her know your thoughts about the interview or any questions you have. Go ahead and drop them in the comments below. And if you'd like to learn more about attracting clients and growing your hypnotherapy business without relying on social media posting, constant posting, or without relying on paid advertisement, I want you to join my email list. Go to ryanmontis.com/email to get on my email list where I share lots of information and valuable tips that I just don't have time to share here on YouTube. So ryanmontis.com/email and watch out for my first email. Thanks, everyone.